Thank you.
Okay, good morning, everyone. So I'm going to be talking about empowering youth through the arts. Very exciting stuff. So, as you can see by my wonderfully handsome face, I am a youth. I'm 19 years of age, and I've been through a lot in my short life. I've been through ups and downs. I felt happy. I felt misunderstood. And most of all, I felt lost, especially in my education. As a tiny little elementary school student, totally scrawny, not that I'm still not scrawny, but as an elementary school student, I was tiny and I was extremely, extremely shy. But I was very grateful because I had something very important in my life, and that was music. I was very grateful to my mom because she always allowed me to explore my life through music. She took me to violin lessons, she took me to guitar lessons. She made me sing along with her to Madonna in the car. It was ridiculous, but I felt comfortable. In the four walls of my room, even as an elementary school student, I felt extremely comfortable in my expression in music. But it never really extended past my room. And as high school rolled around, I experienced many weird and awesome changes with my life and my body. It was crazy. And in high school, I joined many electives. I did drama, I did musical theater, I did all of these things, but I still never felt like I could appropriately share my music with my education. I didn't feel it was a place that I could be really, really creative, especially when it came to academics. But that all changed in grade 12. I needed volunteer hours to graduate. So I volunteered with an organization called the Big Brothers of Greater Vancouver. Great organization. But I didn't feel that way when I was in high school because I had to give up my spare and my lunch break to go hang out with an elementary school student. So every Friday, I made the long trek from my high school all the way down to the elementary school where I had to spend 2 hours with an elementary school student named Niall. Now, Niall was extremely shy. He was small, just like I was, and he had these big, judgy eyes. It was very odd. So I would meet with him in this big classroom about the size of this theater. Well, it felt like the size of this theater. And it was dark. There weren't any windows. It was very, very scary and odd almost to meet an elementary school kid in. So we'd sit at this big table, and he would silently color. So I tried to make the whole thing a little less awkward. So I always was like, Niall, what's going on? What do you love to do? Do you like video games? Do you like music? And just like girls in high school, he completely ignored me. He kept his cool, and he just kept coloring. Well, it made my job a whole lot easier because, well, I didn't have to do much. I just had to sit and color with Niall. It was great. But then he surprised me. 4 weeks later, after complete silence, he walked over to the left of the classroom. He put in a Beatles CD, A Hard Day's Night. Great album. Take a listen. And he started attacking me with questions. I was overwhelmed. After 4 weeks of silence, this elementary school student looked at me and started talking and expressing himself. And so I one-upped him next week. I brought in my guitar, we played music, we played those songs we heard on the album, we learned chords. It was great. And for the first time in my life, my individual expression with guitar and music, it went beyond my room and into that classroom with Niall. It was great. I felt needed. I felt like my creativity had a place. Now, why am I telling you this sentimental story? Well, it's because I realized something that day. That creativity, that students don't feel comfortable in their education, especially when they're creative thinkers. People like Niall, people like me, I had anxiety about learning. As you know, as high school students, we go through level after level of standardized testing. It's a very scary thing, parents. We have to attack knowledge through the analytical mind, the logical mind. We have to memorize. We have to think critically about things. And we have to do a lot of multiplication tables and multiple choice questions. It's frightening, high school. And I don't think that it reflects the creative mind. Now, I'm not saying the logical mind and the mind that thinks very analytically is wrong. It's great that they encourage us to think that way in high school. But I feel if we have a hybrid learning experience, an experience that takes the creative mind, it takes the logical mind and blends those together, that's a better education, because the best analytical thinkers are ones who are inherently creative. And the best creative thinkers are ones that think logically, think analytically. So, if we can do that, then our education would be a lot better. So, I offer you 4 steps as high school students to go about making this wonderful, wonderful change. And it lies in social justice and environmental awareness. Okay, bear with me here. I'll get to that part. Okay, so 4 steps, right? Number 1, what I want you to do is I want you to go home and recognize what you love. You may already know this, but recognize what you love and make it part of your everyday life. So, for example, if you love listening to music, make sure that you do that. Make sure you recognize what music you love. If you love photography, take pictures every single day. If you love going on YouTube and watching YouTube videos and TED Talks online, that's still art, that's creation. Embrace it and make sure it's part of your individual experience every day. That way, it'll be part of your education, especially in schools. Number 2, what you're going to want to do, just like what Niall helped me realize, is that you have to create an environment you feel comfortable in to get the most out of your education, right? So how are you going to do that? Well, you're going to talk to friends. You're going to talk to people in your school community. Teachers even. They're not that scary. So you're going to go up to them. You're going to say, I love music. I love opera, for example. Can we listen to opera while we are doing our math during a silent period of time? Teachers are open to things like this because they were kids just like you. Okay, so you got your individual expression. You've shared it with someone. That's awesome. You have a backing now. Number 3, what you're going to want to do is exhibit what you love. You're going to want to create an environment in your school that fosters creation. So you're going to get together with these friends, and what you're going to do is you're going to set up events like poetry slams or storytelling sessions. It's not bad if you block the entire hallway of your school just because you're creating something, playing music, or making an environment in your school that fosters this creative thought. People will feel happy. Think about it. Lunchtime is not only for eating. It's for communicating with your peers and making sure that your environment is one that truly reflects your learning. As students, you have the power to make sure that your education is one that not only reflects you, but reflects what you want to do with your life. Okay, number 4, this is the last step, but it is also the most vital one. If you want your education to be creative, you need to show people that you want this. And the way you can do this is by making change. Now, this might sound scary. Change is scary. Don't worry, though. Because if you take up a cause in your exhibits, then you will be able to be a vital part of your school's community. Now, what I mean by this is, for example, if you are doing your storytelling sessions in the hallway, that's great, that's awesome. But now, to take it a step further and take up a cause, what you want to do is make sure that when you have these events, perhaps you're raising awareness for an injustice in the world. There are so many. You'll hear about some of them today. And if you raise awareness, that's doing something good for your community. If educators, your peers, parents see that creative thinking, art is making a very positive difference in your school community outside of your normal boring biology classes, then they can see that it needs to be part of those classes, that everyday education. So you have your individual experience, you have the people backing you every day, and then finally you have your exhibits that have a cause. So a group I work with called Artquake is just like that. They are a Vancouver-based organization that gives a stage like this one to youth so that they can perform act, put up visual art, come together in the community to embrace what they love to do. But what's special about this organization is that they foster change through empowerment and environmental awareness. So if you can do that, take up a cause in your school, then your education will soon become part of that. If you can do that, if you can take this home with you, then your high schools will be a better place, not only for you to learn, but for future generations to learn. There are so many things wrong in this world, and we can change them through your love of art. Thank you so much, everyone. The art today was done by my friend Kate, and as I leave, the stage will be set for many more speakers today. Thank you so much, everyone.